Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land. Oh, mercy, it's another day in trucking. This video is going to be a little bit of a rant, but before I get into my rant, I actually got paid a very nice compliment today. They might not have realized it, but I took it as a compliment. I'll take what I can get, right? But, when any time that something happens good in your life and you're real excited about it, the person that you want to go and tell that to, that means you actually hold a lot of value for them having them in your life. So somebody today had something extraordinary coming down the pipe at them, and they complimented me nicely by calling me and saying, "You can't tell anybody this, but this is what's happening for me, and I'm so excited," and yada, just like a little kid, right? But the fact that that person comes to you and is excited and wants to share it with you, you should take that as a major compliment. I did. I absolutely did. So I appreciate that. My rant for the day. Oh, mercy. Where should we begin? Oh, the absolute. There's a word I'd like to use for it, but I try to keep the videos, pretty much PG, so I won't use the word. But I'll just take you back, all right? It started out actually day before yesterday. And I had spent the night in Oklahoma so I could see my daughter and all that good stuff. But I had a 3 a.m. drop. So I got up and ran down early in the afternoon and parked about an hour north of Fort Worth. And my drop was in Fort Worth. For 3 a.m. Right? Everybody loves the 3 a.m. drop, right? Oh, anyway. And I always like to be at a drop or pickup 1 hour before my appointment time. So that meant that I needed to get up and start running about 1 a.m. So I got up and started my clock at 1 a.m. Went and made my drop. Got into my appointment at 3 a.m. Was unloaded and everything and out of there by 4:30. A little bit long, no big deal. Hour and a half. Can't really cry too hard about that. So I get out of there, but I have a pickup for 3 p.m. that afternoon. And by the time that I left that yard and went into a parking spot and everything, it was after 5 a.m. So I couldn't even get a 10-hour break in before, because I needed to be up and running by 1:45, so I could be there an hour early for my 3 p.m. pickup, right? But I'm on my 14-hour clock. That all works, so we'll just let the clock run, and I'll run in and do my pickup, and then I'll come out of my pickup on PC and park out on the street somewhere and get me a 10, and then that way, midnight or so, I'll get my clock back and we can diddy-bop on down the road, right? The thing that we're not talking about all that is that when I stopped there an hour north of Fort Worth, since I had slept early, in the middle of the day, I wasn't able to go to sleep. So I went into my 3 a.m. drop with no sleep. And then I come out, and when I got my parking spot, it's after 5 in the morning, I was able to go to sleep. So I got about 4-5 hours sleep, whatever. Anyway, but it was broken sleep. I had people calling me, waking me up, so I really didn't get any sleep. And then I went in and did my 3 p.m. pickup. And this rarely ever happens to me. I say never at a shipper or receiver more than 2 hours. They're pretty good about getting us in and out of there. But every once in a while you run into a nightmare. That one was a nightmare. I got in there at 3 o'clock into a door, and I I didn't get out of there till 8 p.m. So I didn't get any sleep. Then I pulled down to out on the street on PC and shut down. I'm waiting till midnight till I get my clock back. And I laid there, crickets, right? I don't get any sleep. So midnight comes, I start my clock, I take off running, and I run for 8 hours till I get here to Mississippi, 6 a.m. in the morning, and I am beat. I am absolutely beat. I basically went 32, 36 hours without any sleep. I'm toast. I can't drive anymore. But I'm dealing with my clock and everything, and I'm going to have to take a 10-hour break before my next drop anyway. And I'm 675 miles from there. And I've hit my 30-minute mandatory break, which is going to lead me to my rant. So if I take my 30-minute break and get back up running, I lose 30 minutes, and I need that 30 minutes to be able to make my drop, even if I take a 10-hour break. But that 30-minute mandatory is going to put me late. What do you do? What do you do? Anyway, so I shut her down. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I call my dispatcher, tell them that I'm beat, I'm wore out, I haven't had any sleep in the last 32, 36 hours. I'm exhausted, can't safely operate the vehicle anymore. With the way my clock is set up, it's impossible for me to make an 8 a.m. drop in the morning. And I called and this was a brokered load too. We rarely ever pull a brokered load. Well, we don't have as much power to manipulate and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I call the broker. My dispatcher sends them an email. They just reschedule the delivery for 8 a.m. the following morning. Crap. It's a suck situation. That's all there is to it, right? So I do my 10-hour break. I get up, of course, another dispatcher calls me at noon. I've been asleep for about 3 hours after 36 hours being awake. I'm not the kindest soul to speak to at that moment in time. Anyway, I kind of lost it on this dispatcher. She's going, well, can you do this? Can you pick up this load? Can you be there by this time and still make this pickup over here in Winston-Salem and get headed back to, and she's rattling all this stuff off to me. And I'm like, dear, I was asleep, and I'm 3 hours into sleep after 36 hours of being awake. I don't have a clue. You're looking at it better than I can. You tell me if I can do it. And she goes, well, this is just, I said, hey, this is the way it is. I said, I was scheduled for a drop and then a pickup within 12 hours. There's no way that I could get my 10-hour break. And then I had to run at midnight, and I ran all night until the sun came up the next morning. Been 36 hours without sleep. There wasn't any annotation on it if I was getting layover or what with it. I said, I just feel like I'm getting. You know what I said, right? And she's going, whoa, just calm down. She goes, I get it, I'm sorry. She goes, I'll take care of everything. Get you some rest, brother. Go to sleep. And I'm pissed, right? So I hang up the phone. And I'm laying there and going, man. So I shoot her off an email right quick and say, hey, dear, I am so sorry. I don't have any excuse, and there's no reason for me to ever talk to you that way. I apologize. And you're like, but we're friends, Me and my dispatchers and DMs and stuff, we're all friends. We're friends on Facebook. We know each other's kids, all that kind of stuff. And thank goodness, because she just wrote back, hey, absolutely no worries. She goes, I know you all, and I also understand that the situation that you were put in. She goes, I didn't take it personally at all. She goes, Still, we're friends, love you, all that good stuff, yada, yada, yada. So we go on about our day. And then, so I do my 10-hour break here, and I got woke up. I can't go back to sleep. So I said, oh, hell with it. I got to do laundry, take a shower, and all that good stuff anyway. Went in and got something to eat. The bangers got to go inside. Yeah, it's a pet-friendly love, so bangers got to go inside, and we did laundry, and she got to hang out in the shower while I took a shower and all that good stuff. So bangers was happy. She always gets all excited when she gets to go inside. But get to be treated like real people, huh, babers? I know it. So anyway, I do all that stuff. Now, so I'm wide awake. I know I've only had 4 hours sleep, but I'm wide awake. I'm ready to run, right? My batteries are recharged. I've had a shower. I'm feeling good. Let's go after the world. Well, I've got like 15 minutes. I need to get some reefer fuel. I need to wash my windshield. So I'm flipping on personal conveyance. Run up there and put some fuel in the reefer and wash my windshield and do all my, complete my pre-trip and all that good stuff. And by the time I get done with all that, my clock will be ready and I can start rolling, right? Oh no. Talk about a dumbass move. I don't always just hit the buttons on my ELD because it'll do it all on automatic anyway. So I get done washing the windshield, fuel in the reefer, and I just jump at it, start it up, throw it in gear, pop. I beat the clock by 1 minute. 9 hours and 59 minutes on break and busted my clock. So you know what that means? Because of this ELD, and you cannot edit driveline, because it threw it right onto drive, right? Violation. Cannot edit it. And I wasn't in drive for 30 seconds. And now I've got to sit here for another 10 hours to get my clock back. And this brings me to my rant. I've been talking about what's going on in the world. What's really going on in the world, you don't get to see. And, you know me, I love quotes and stuff like that. Here's an old one. And this is an old one. Come back from prior to, I think it was actually 2004. It goes, the revolution will not be televised. And I'm going to tell you, I know that for a fact. Back when I was politically active, I used to use another persona. I almost mentioned it. I'm not going to do that. In another life, all right, I wrote and spoke and stuff underneath a different persona. And you heard me say that I had a couple of FBI investigations. I was the subject of a couple of FBI investigations back in the day. One, threatening the life of a sitting president. Two, the other charge was evoking a revolution. Yeah, so I spent a lot of my adult life on the no-fly list, the terrorist watch list. I was on all the lists, right? All 3 of them. Actually, I had an FBI agent, when we cleared it up, and all charges were dropped and everything. He goes, there's absolutely nothing illegal. I said, I know. I chose my words wisely. He goes, that's not a threat. Because in the statement that I made that got me in trouble, I had a megaphone in front of about 10,000 people and said that a president ought to be face his day in court for the crimes that he's accused, and if found guilty of acts of treason, should be tied to a fence post and shot as an example for all presidents to come. Well, when you say that in front of a big crowd, some people misunderstand what you say, and that was the allegation for threatening the life of a sitting president. I didn't say we ought to kill him. I said that we ought to try him, and if found guilty, then we ought to shoot the bastard. Yeah, that's what I said. But anyway, got me in a lot of trouble. Made my life real miserable for a long time. But the revolution will not be televised. And I saw that in Minneapolis, what was it, 2008? And I was a delegate for Ron Paul. And we had rented the Target Center, and it was during the Republican National Convention, and it was a campaign for liberty, and we filled the Target Center. I mean, it was a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see people of like mind all screaming revolution, educated, understood what, when you said down with the Fed, they knew what you were talking about. All those things. It was the start of a revolution. Because contrary to popular belief, a revolution is not started with a shot that goes around the world. It started with an idea and an educational process that runs through the people. And once that they're educated on the idea of freedom and liberty, that's when they stand up. And that's what we find ourselves in today. The educational process was actually brought to us by a tyrannical overreach of our government. And that's what we've just experienced. When your government thinks that they have the authority to tell you to lock yourself in your house, and it's always motivated through fear. I mean, it's ooga booga, it's a story that they tell you. Ooga booga, be scared, you have to do what I tell you. That was a very tyrannical move, and they shut down our nation. And look at where we're at today because of it. I said from the beginning, the solution does not match the problem. The solution that they handed to us, that's what I was talking about, the Hegelian Dialectic, how you use it to control the masses. It's so absolutely easy and so basic, the Hegelian Dialectic. And you just got to witness it firsthand. You cause the problem. Even in Mussolini, the great architect, he actually even wrote, that's the reason why they call him the great architect, because he showed you a systematic way to overthrow a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and turn it into a tyrannical fascist government. He wrote the plan. That's why they call him the architect. And right there, his second step was evoke an enemy. And if you can't evoke an enemy, make one up. That's the same way when we talk about Orwellian, 1984. That's what they did, is they didn't actually have an enemy. They just made one up and told the people that they have an enemy. See a common theme here? There's the Hegelian Dialectic. It's been around for a very long time. They use it. It's the way you control the masses. It's when dealing with slaves, the best kind of slave to own is one that actually thinks he's free. Because a man that believes he's free is far more productive than a man that knows that he's a slave. It's better to have a slave and all you do is say, hey dude, you're not a slave, you're free, you can do anything you want to. I recommend you do this, it'll be a good profit for you. See the story? The Hegelian Dialectic, how does it work? You cause the problem. And generally you want your problem just to scare the living crap out of everybody. Oh, we're all gonna die, right? You cause the problem. You wait for the emotional reaction from the people. Oh, we're all gonna die, please master, save me. Please master, save me is also like, let me bend my knee and kiss the hand of my master. That's what it is. Let's call it what it is. That's what you're doing. Relying on somebody else to protect you. Stand there as a free man. Have some balls, man. When men quit being men. But yeah, I'll go off on another subject. So the Hegelian Dialectic. You cause the problem. You wait for the emotional response from the people so you can hand them their solution. The solution is destroy your country, destroy your economy, destroy your independence, shut down everything except the big boys, all right? But all you little people shut down and y'all don't go to work. Y'all go broke. Y'all become totally dependent upon the system. That's the plan. Because when they're dependent upon the system, that's when you have absolute control. That's the way it works. Which brings me to the point of my rant. You know, I talked about it in the big scheme of things, the big picture. But tyranny comes in little pieces. Absolute tyranny is little pieces. And you and me, we've allowed it to happen. We've allowed it to happen because we conformed. We said, okay, master, I'll play the game according to your rule. And what I'm talking about is this deadgum ELD. I'm a grown-ass man. I do not need somebody to dictate a bunch of laws and rules and regulations to protect me from myself. And if you're the public, if you want to go out into society, you have to accept certain risk. You have to be educated. You know, we don't need a warning label on everything. Say, don't touch the iron, it might be hot and it might burn you. Don't stick your foot underneath the lawnmower. Gasoline is flammable. You don't, are you following me? It becomes stupid and asinine. The overreach. And that's what we have with this ELD. I'm a grown-ass man. I don't need somebody to tell me. You think when I'm driving down the road and I get to a point that I'm so tired that I can't safely operate the vehicle, do you think that I think that it's worthwhile to make another 50 cents, that I take a chance of wrecking the truck or perhaps killing a family of 4? If you think that's the way I make my decisions, then none of us should be in a truck. Trucks should be outlawed. If they're that big of a danger, get rid of them. Come up with a different system. But you can't, can you? Rules and regulations. So you want to know my absolute solution to our problem in today's society? What I want? If I could have everything what I want, the first thing that I would want, I'd want to be a free man in a free society, profiting in an absolute free market. Whenever you regulate it in any way, it's no longer free. When you start telling a man there's something that he can do or he's not allowed to do, or that he has to do this or he's no longer free. If you regulate a market at all in any shape, form, or fashion, saying that if you want to play the game, you have to do this, it's no longer a free market. That's a regulated market. True capitalism, we're not practicing true capitalism. True capitalism is in a free market where everybody competes freely and equally. You do not. It's a regulated market. If you don't meet these certain standards, you're not allowed to play. So don't stand up here and tell me, oh, we're number one because we're free. Don't feed me that crap. Because if you think we're free, you're delusional. We are one of the most fascist police state societies that has ever been on the face of the earth. You know, I was actually amazed because as a Marine, I trained a lot of my time to fight Russians back before the Cold War. And I was actually amazed to find out that my Russian counterparts, when they went home, they lived in a life in a more Christian society with more freedom than I did, and I was told that they were the frickin' communists. That's the truth of the matter. It's illusions. It's what you're perceived. It's what you're fed. It's the Kool-Aid that you drink. Wake up, open your eyes, actually see the truth, what's going on. You live in the most tyrannical, fascist police state the world has ever known. And that's the truth. And the reason why it's that way is because me and you, it's our fault. Because we allowed it. We put up with it. It's our fault. I love that movie, V for Vendetta. He goes, I understand why you did it, but if you want to know Who's at fault? All you have to do is look in the mirror. Me and you, we're at fault. So if me and you is at fault, it's up to us to fix it.